Am I the asshole I lied to the people who I was babysitting for to get them to come home? I am 15 years old and I babysit to make money. I took a first aid course and a babysitting course. Last weekend one of my little sister's classmates' parents had a wedding to go to and asked if I would babysit. I asked how late they would need me and if I should pack an overnight bag if they were going to be staying out all night. They said that they would be home by midnight. So I checked with my dad if that was okay because he is my ride. He doesn't want me alone in a car with adults that he does not know. So my dad was there to pick me up at 11:50. The kids were all asleep and I was watching TV. I had texted them at 11 o'clock to double that they would be in time. The mom texted me back, yes, 12:30 they still aren't there. I texted again. No answer. I called my dad and he is pissed. Not at me. 1 o'clock. I call them. No answer. My dad went and got a coffee at home and came back. He is all calm. Not good. He is ready to blow. I texted every 15 minutes. No response. 2:20 I have an idea. I texted them that someone tried to break into their garage but that the alarm scared them away. They were home drunk in an Uber in 15 minutes. My dad made them pay me for my extra time before we left. He told me that I'm not allowed to babysit for them again unless I charged them for an overnight stay. Yesterday at school I saw the mom when I was picking up my sisters after school. She gave me shit for scaring her and her husband. That they had checked their security cameras and no one tried to break in. I said sorry, the alarm went off so I called you. She called me a liar. Which is fair. But I don't feel bad about what I did. They lied to me first. My mom says I should have just sucked it up but my dad says that they broke our deal. I kind of feel bad for tricking them into coming home from their party. But they could have told me it was an overnight or texted me that they were going to be late. My dad has brought me an overnight bag before when that has happened. #EDIT. My mom wanted me to call the police to see if they had been in an accident. But I thought that if they were still at the wedding it would cause a scene. Not the asshole. The fact that the parents said yes they would be home at 12 and then wouldn't respond for 2 hours is bullshit. Where she gets off being pissed at you is crazy. Please tell me they apologized when they finally got home. Not the asshole. They had no regards to you and your time, forcing a minor to stay up way late and ignoring your texts. The fact that they came home right after you scared THRM shows that they read your texts, just decided to ignore them. You told a white lie to force THRMHOMR after all other attempts failed. Your dad is right. Sure, the lying is not great, but they were the ones who fucked up. You are absolutely not an asshole, they are. And learn from your father, not your mother. She's too much into people pleasing. Not the asshole. You're 15 and not coming home at the agreed to time. Your father took it easy on them. Am I the asshole for calling the police after my brother dropped off his 2 kids at my workplace? My M31, brother M36 is a single, widowed, dad of 2 kids. My nephews, both under the age of 10. He used to have babysitters but ever since he met his new girlfriend he stopped hiring any help because his girlfriend claimed that she wanted the kids to warm up to and get used to her as the only woman in their life. WTF? So he started asking me to watch the boys whenever he had something to do. I'd help if I'm able but I work a demanding job and need to cover full time. He for whatever reason refuses to acknowledge that. Days ago, he was going for lunch with his girlfriend to meet her friends and wanted me to have the boys. I told him I had to work but he begged me to take the day off. I refused and went to work. At 11 a.m. a coworker of mine entered the office and behind him were my nephews. I was flabbergasted. He told me my brother dropped them off so they cowled stay with me. I was in a state of disbelief but also furious. I felt stuck and terrified my boss would see this and I get in trouble. I couldn't even take time off because of how busy I was. Out of frustration I called the police and explained what happened. They got a hold of my brother and he was forced to come take them off me as well as get into trouble with the authorities who spent hours talking to him. My BKSS eventually found out and I had to leave work early and go home. In the evening, my brother called and started screaming at me, calling me names of all sorts and saying that I not only ruined his meeting with his girlfriend and her friends, but caused him to get in trouble with the police. He called me a vile sob and said that I could have had the kids with me for a couple of hours or even took them home and took the rest of the day off. We haven't been speaking but his girlfriend is constantly shaming me for what I'd done, saying she treats the kids better than I do and that I should be ashamed for this. Not the asshole. That's child abandonment, plain and simple. How dare you put my job at risk so you could have a lunch date? Is the response. Over and over. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your brother's kids should be first in his life, not the new girlfriend. You need to talk to him about why his new girlfriend thinks his own kids shouldn't be around. Also, talk to him about where he thinks the relationship is heading, because the longer he stays, the more controlling she's going to be. Now is a good time to stop talking to your brother for the foreseeable future. What? How could you possibly think you're the one at fault here? Who drops their kids off at someone's workplace and expects that someone to drop everything and take care of them? Your brother is deluded. Not the asshole, obviously. Am I the asshole for pointing out I didn't invite someone to dinner with me? There's a girl, 19F, who lives in my 19F hallway. Our raw figure has hallway bonding events twice a week that people are kind of supposed to attend or strongly encouraged. They are enjoyable, but for this one girl, she is always commenting on my eating choices. On one occasion, she said she had just finished dinner. I said, oh, same. She asked what I thought about the dining hall options that night. I said I had gone to a restaurant. She said in a weird way, that's an expensive restaurant. I was like, I suppose. It wasn't really, but I suppose it's a nice restaurant compared to fast food or something. Another occasion, she asks what I had been doing before the event. I said dinner. She said, at a restaurant, I'm sure. I was like, yeah, that's what I typically do. I don't like the dining hall food, so I prefer going to restaurants usually. She said, must be nice. I was like, yeah, it is. And thought, what a strange girl, she does not seem to understand how to have polite social interaction. It kept seeming to happen. She said, where did you eat tonight? I'm like, I went to X, not that it's her business. She said in a vapid weird kind of way, I could never afford that. And still not sure why she's asking about where I eat, I said, well, it's not like I invited you, so you don't need to worry about if you can afford it. She said she doesn't feel comfortable at our bonding events because of my aggression. Not the asshole, she is absolutely being passive-aggressive and judging your choices. I really don't understand the YTA votes here, unless everyone is missing the sarcasm in the must be nice. Not the asshole. This person shouldn't be questioning where you eat and what you can afford. They are clearly jealous that they have a different financial situation that doesn't afford them eating at similar restaurants, etc. She needs to figure out a new topic of conversation. You responded with the energy you were given. If she's uncomfortable, that's on her. Doesn't sound like you're being aggressive to me, but it certainly sounds like she's being passive-aggressive for some reason. No idea what's going on with this girl, but I can't see how you could really be considered the asshole here. Am I the asshole for telling my mom I refuse to fix a problem she and my stepsister created? When I was 15, my then 19-year-old stepsister had a baby. She was still living at home at the time and didn't know who the dad of her daughter was, so my mom and her decided I would need to babysit every day after school until someone else got home. This went on until I turned 18 and moved out of my mom and stepdad's house and in with my brother, who was the same age as my stepsister. My stepsister and I were never sisters, we never called each other family or had a relationship built on anything. So I never regarded her daughter as my niece, and I never planned to be an overly involved figure. After I moved out, I saw her 3 times in the past 6 years. I did not have a strong attachment to her, and I certainly never considered her like my own. But my mom and stepsister have hyped me up to her. They have told her that all these stories that are simply not true. Stories about me cuddling her to sleep and how I used to call her my little baby, how I adored her more than anyone else in the world. My mom had taken a few photos of me and her that she had staged at the time. They show her those as if they were moments my mom had walked in on. So she has been waiting for this aunt figure who considers her their own child. And when we saw each other 3 times this year, mostly focused on the fact I was having a baby, she was incredibly jealous and angry. The last time was at my grandparents' house. My partner and I were focused on our baby, and she was very emotional and trying to grab my attention. This is when what my mom and stepsister had been telling her came to light. She accused me of replacing her, of my baby stealing her place and trying to push her out. She said I used to do all that stuff with her and now I didn't, and it wasn't fair. She asked my stepsister to get me to do that stuff for her again. After some questions, it came to light what she was talking about. She wanted me to dedicate myself to her the way she had been told I had. She wanted me to put her before my child. My grandparents told my stepsister to leave, and after some arguing she did leave with her daughter. Then they asked my mom what the hell she'd been thinking and what happened from there, as my mom called after everyone else had left my grandparents and told me I needed to talk to stepsister's daughter and help them fix the hurt she was going through. I told her it was not my job to fix a problem she and my stepsister created. My mom told me it was about a child, not about them, and I was not being very compassionate. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. First they forced you to babysit for 3 years, then they expect you to be super aunt and focus solely on the kid? Do I feel bad for the child? Yes. But the mom and stepsister created this fantasy and need to deal with it. They want you to be involved in fixing it so that they don't have to take the blame for what they did.